Lee Forrester, MMP fanboy. Time for another installment of Metal on Metal. We're talking about the Grand Tactical Series. We're on to episode 4 of my tutorials. Hopefully going to be 5 altogether. This one we're going to talk about assault combat. One topic, it's a little complicated, but hopefully after this video you'll be pros at this and it won't present much of a problem. It's a pretty important tactic, so you're going to want to learn how to use these in this game. So here is how assaults work. This is a quick overview. First off, assault happens between adjacent units. We'll say this tank here is going to be assaulting the infantry. It makes a little bit more sense. First thing you do is declare your attack, assaulting stack, which units are assaulting, and the defending target hex. Then you have to make a bravery check to see if the units will actually conduct the assault. After this, assuming it's successful, the defending stack gets to roll for opportunity to fire only against the attacking units, and only the defending hex gets to do this. After this, if both units are still there and going strong, then any zero-step units in the target hex are eliminated. So you'll find out this is a great way to get rid of those pesky zero-step units. They're simply poofed at this point in the assault. If there are still defending units in hex, the defender has the option to retreat or not. If the defender stands and does not retreat, then 2 rounds of assault combat are conducted. Defender firing first in general. Defender firing first. And you get to attack with both your regular fire factor and your assault factor. So each unit will be shooting twice. We do have here charge. That is one thing that the attacker can decide in each combat round is whether to charge or not. By charging, the defending unit has to make a quality roll or simply spend a command point to stand. And if they stand, nothing happens. If they don't stand, if the charge is declared and the target unit fails to make their quality roll, they're simply eliminated. So let's get into the details. That's the overview. Let's get into how this works in the particulars. First of all, obviously you have to be able to move to assault. So you can't assault with your guns that are pulled around, the prolonged unit movements. You cannot have a blank assault value. Here there is no assault value because it's a zero-step unit. They cannot assault. You can't be entrenched. You cannot be suppressed. You have to actually be able to enter the target hex. This is super important because a lot of tank-type units have to be in column to enter certain kinds of terrain. And some kinds of terrain they can't enter at all, such as forest without a road. So units occupying a forest hex without a road will be immune to assault by tank-type units, things that have track movement. You also cannot be under a heavy barrage when you assault, and it's only single hex to single hex. You don't have massive hexes attacking. You can't assault with 3 hexes at the same time. So let's look at the bravery check. If there is a fire zone exerted by any defending unit on the hex from which the assault is happening, the attacking troops have to make a quality check to see if they actually conduct the assault. If we stop for a minute, what does this mean? This means that if there is no fire zone, perhaps because all of the units in the area are suppressed, or they don't actually have their mortars or artillery are mortars and don't have fire zones, then you don't have to make a bravery check. Usually you do, though. And what you do first of all is you find the defending hex that has the lowest defensive rating that exerts a fire zone on the attacking hex. Now this unit here has a +1, which is very good, but you count terrain for the hex being attacked, and the terrain for town is a -2, so this is a total of -1. However, this tank here also, you see, has a range of 3. It's not next to anybody, it's not in a barrage, so it also exerts a fire zone here. So we're going to actually use this because this is better for the defender. The defender gets the choice of which unit exerting the fire zone he gets to consider, and so you'll pick the one as the defender naturally that has the lowest defensive rating. This has a total of a -1, +1 for that, -2 for the terrain. That'll be a -1. This has a -3, so we'll be using the -3. So first of all, we get that -3. We add the attacking quality rating, which is a 6, so that brings us to 3. And then we subtract the best defensive rating in the attacking stack. This has just 1 unit, so that's a -3. So that's going to bring it up to a 6. So in order for this unit to successfully assault this stack, it needs to roll a 6. And you cannot spend command points to make this quality check. It has to be done by a die roll. If this tank unit were under a barrage or were adjacent to another enemy unit, one of these attacking guys, then we'd have to use this one. It would be a total of -1, and he would be a -3, so his chance would be an 8 instead of a 6. Some modifiers to remember: if anybody in the target hex is entrenched, take a -2 off that roll automatically. If the target hex has mines, that's another -2. People who've played against me know that I forget that one all the time, but here I have it written, white on red, so I'll try to remember from here on out. And there is, as I mentioned before, if there's no fire zone for whatever reason, then you don't actually have to make the bravery check. You get to move right to the attack. So let's assume that these units made the bravery check, or in this case this unit, and let's move to the next phase. Here we have some different examples. At this point, the attacked hex has an opportunity fire. And this is considered a fire zone to fire zone, sort of a movement-based opportunity fire. And if this unit were attacking, say an assaulting here, made his bravery check, this Panzer Grenadier unit would have to roll. You'd need to roll a 6, assuming there's no other modifiers. And if so, it would get to attack as a normal opportunity fire. It'd be a 4, and it would have a +2 for fire zone to fire zone, -3, so he'd be rolling at about the 3. So if after opportunity fire, any attacking units are suppressed, they drop out of the assault. And at this stage, once opportunity fire has been conducted or failed, then any 0-step units are eliminated, as I mentioned earlier. And the attacker advances if there are no defenders in there. So let's just assume we're moving to the next one. That's the opportunity fire. Important here is only the defending hex gets to conduct this fire. Now the defender gets to decide to retreat or not. All units have to retreat. Leader goes with them. It has to be a legal movement hex, and what's probably the most important is the unit has to be able to move. So if it's in an entrenchment, it can't move, and it won't be able to. Oh, I'll take that back. Entrenches can reach. If you're in an entrenchment, you can retreat from assault. So I take that back. But often vehicles will be in towns and they won't be in column, and then they won't be able to retreat or move because they have to be in column to move, so they won't be able to retreat in that case. And other units, not the attacking hex, but other units can take an opportunity fire at these retreating units with a +2 modifier. If the defender or the defenders retreat, they move 1 hex and they are then suppressed, and then the attacking unit gets to move in. You also can't retreat if you're overstacked, which I've never seen happen. But very important is if you're under a heavy barrage, you also can't retreat. So that's one way to pin a hex in place, is to barrage it until you get a heavy barrage, and then you can assault it and it can't get away. Anybody that can't retreat, if you have a hex that has a mix of units and you retreat, they're eliminated. Now, let's just suppose that someone's still here. No one's retreated, we're standing. In the first round of combat, the attacker decides whether it's going to use assault fire or whether it's going to charge. Assault fire is a pretty normal procedure. Defender shoots, attacker shoots. You do that for 2 rounds, et voila. Charge is going in full bore, and the defender has to sort of make a morale check, a quality roll check. If they pass it, they're fine, and they get to shoot at the attacker, get a free shot. If they fail it, they're eliminated. You can use a command point for this, so it's really important to keep some command points around and to keep your guys in command if you think you might be charged. Units that are particularly vulnerable to being charged are ones that have a very low quality rating, obviously. Also units that are out of command and thus cannot spend a command point and have to make the roll. If the unit holds in the charge, then it gets, like I said, a free assault. It gets a free defensive fire, and that's the end of that round. Now you'll notice on this counter here, this is at the beginning of the game, and this, like June 6th, one of them say it's 9 a.m., and this unit's very far forward, it's out of command, and it's probably even night, so it has an extra -2 for being at night before the very beginning of the day. I guess I just made this situation up, and it would be down to a 3. So it's a good tactic to hit units that are out of command because they get minus for that, or have a low division modifier to their quality rating anyway that makes it even harder for them to hold during assault. So that's the charge, something to be considered. You don't see this a ton. You see it a lot, like I mentioned, when you're attacking units that are out of command. So let's suppose the unit stands under the charge, or there isn't a charge, and we'll have defending fire. In this fire, unlike opportunity fire, you do get to roll for your company bonus. And you get to roll with both. You get to roll twice. You get to roll with your direct and your assault value. So if we go back to the screen here, this unit, if it were defending in assault combat, would roll with the, well, actually, I can't use that unit. Let's use this one right here. This unit would attack with its 3 and then also with its 4 in defensive side. Now, why did I modify that? If you have a colored assault value, you use it twice instead of using your regular fire factor. So let's go back here again to this previous screen. I had to modify that because this unit has a colored defensive fire, as does this one here. Which means both of these units, when they're defending an assault, this is just when you're defending, they will fire twice with their assault value rather than firing once with their regular fire factor and once with their assault combat factor. What does this mean? These units are a little less deadly defending because they don't get their white 4. They're using a red, which means it's more of a small arms fire. So they're kind of vulnerable to being assaulted by tanks because any tank that's attacking will get its white factor plus its assault, but these will only defend with this one's a higher number, but it's a red as opposed to a white, so it doesn't fire quite so well. Right, so use the color value twice if it's there. You can see some of the modifiers for assault. And for the attacking unit, it does not get terrain bonuses here. Now, the attacker gets to fire if he's still there. It uses both its direct and assault values, so you don't use its assault value twice, even if it's colored. Direct fire goes first. As always, if the target hex units are all eliminated, move right in. After the first round, beginning with the attacker, you can move out of column into, to remove column and take a cohesion hit if you want. If the assault is still going on, the attacker can continue to round 2. He doesn't have to. He can break it off at this point if he wants. If he continues, it's the same. You start the charge decision, decide whether to charge or not, and you'll find it's a kind of a common tactic to fight one round normally and then go for the charge if you want as the attacker. And after 2 rounds, the combat is over. Okay, time for some examples. Walk through this whole procedure a couple times. Let us assume this is, say, June 6th, obviously. Say it's about 11, maybe 9, depending how fortunate the allies are. We've got some units up here, more like 11. And we're going to try to assault our way to freedom. Now, this tank can attack either of these 2 units because it's adjacent. It can try. We'll try to pull this out. And it's much better to do some prep with artillery before you actually assault because this lowers the fire ratings of the defender and perhaps lowers its quality rating a little bit. Super important. So let's drop a light barrage on that because that's the only way I'd probably do that. First thing off, we declare the assault of this tank against this hex. Next thing we have to do is make a bravery check. He's a 5, -1 because they haven't cleared the beach yet. And at the beginning of the scenario, he's -1 until he clears the beach. It's going to be a 4. And we have to then subtract this here. So it's going to be a 3 for the defense. Remember, since this is a unit exerting, it could also be this one, but they're both at a -1. So that's going to be a 3. And then it gets to add that. So that's going to be +3. So it's 6 because the better armored you are, the easier to just go in. So his quality rating roll is going to be 6. The bravery check roll, he rolls a 0. Of course he makes it. So bravery check passed. Continue to opportunity fire. Base 6, -1 for being out of command, -1 for being at the barrage. He needs 4. He fails. Nothing. If he did get it, it's going to be, it would be a 4 +2 for fire zone to fire zone. That's a 6, -3 to defense, so he'd be shooting at a white 3 if he had opportunity fire. Now, so we've passed through that. He has the opportunity now to retreat. If he wants to, he can say, we're pulling out. He retreats to here. No one's going to be able to fire opportunity fire at him because he is in a hedgerow, so nobody sees him at that range. He would move to there. We would mark him suppressed. The attacker would move in, and the combat would be over. That would be it. But we're not going to do that. So back him right back up there. We're going to actually, excuse me about that, we're going to actually conduct the assault since that's what we're learning here. Put him back where he goes. Fine. Opportunity fire fails. We're going to round 1. will do the attacker gets to choose between charge and assault combat, and it will choose assault combat. So the defending unit will take defensive fire. It fires twice. It can roll for a company bonus, but this unit has no company bonus because it only has 1 dot. Because it has a red number here, it uses this assault factor twice rather than using the regular fire factor, direct fire factor in assault. So it gets to shoot with yellow 2s. It has 2 of them. And there is no modifier for terrain. There wouldn't be anyway, but -3 for the defense factor, -1 for being in the light barrage. So he needs 0s. So he rolls a 1 and a 9. No effect. Now, he gets to do his assault. He rolls for his company bonus. He rolls a 2. He needed to roll 4, so it's successful. He has a white 6. The target has a 0 defense, -1 for being in the bocage, so a white 5. The roll is a 6. It is a miss. Now, we get a red 5 plus 2 for company bonus is 7. -1 is a 6. A red 6, and we roll a 4. That is a cohesion hit. Inflict a cohesion hit. That was round 1. Round 2. He can then decide, do I charge or do I do another round of assault combat or assault fire? He will charge this time. This unit is out of command. Rauch at the beginning is hiding somewhere. So he needs to make a quality roll. 6, -1 for being out of command, -1 for being into the barrage. Can you see how handy those things are? He needs to make his roll a 4 to stand his ground. He rolls an 8. He does not. He is eliminated. Poof, gone. You can see charges are nice when they work. But let's just do one more round and say he made the charge. Let's say he rolled a 3 and he got through it. Then he will take his fire at him, and this time he gets +2 modifiers. But that's not going to help him much because he's down from a 2. -1 for the barrage is a 1. -1 for the cohesion hits is 0. +2 for charging is 2. -3 defense. It still doesn't do much. Okay, that was no effect. So that's the assault. You can see tanks can be pretty, especially these -3 defense guys, can be pretty tough in assault. So that's that example. Let's do another one here. I'll move down a bit. Let's just say that the foolish Yorks decide to assault these grenadiers without any preparation of any kind, just to see what would happen. They have a base of 6 -1 for being the beach not yet cleared, so that's going to be a 5. And then let's take a look here at the defender. It's going to have a -1 total defense. It's the only one with the fire zone there that I can see. Well, actually, if this guy were not covered the barrage, he would exert a fire zone there, but he's a -1. He doesn't get to use his terrain, just a -1, and he's a -1 with the terrain because he's being assaulted, so either way it's -1. So 6, 5, -1 for defense, 4. He rolls an 8. That would fail, but let's just pretend he made it, right? Then we get to roll for opportunity fire. He has a 4, no modifiers. He rolls a 3, so he gets to do opportunity fire on him. We can use the wizard for that. So he'll attack here. It's fire zone to fire zone and no terrain because he's moving an assault. He doesn't get the wood, so we're going to add that back in there. So he's firing at a 6. Let's make the roll. It is a suppression. If this unit stays suppressed, the assault is over because you remember during this phase, any assaulting units that are suppressed drop out. Let's say he wants to try to turn it into a cohesion hit and he rolls a 9. Failure. Suppressed. Done. But we can also add the cohesion hit, say he made it, or if the allied wants to foolishly spend a command point on it, that's fine too. So the opportunity fire inflicts a cohesion hit. Now we move to retreat. Ha, he says. We're not retreating. We're good. So since these units are in command and we'll say well supplied with command points, the attacker should not charge. And we're going to use assault fire. First off, this defender fires round 1. Defender fires first. It gets to roll for a company bonus. It fails. So it's going to have this red 4 and then this red 5. You see that the number is black. It's not a colored number, so you get to use the direct fire and then the assault fire factors. His defense is going to be 0. He does not get terrain in this thing, so red 4 is the first one. A 0 will be a cohesion hit, and now a red 5. A 1 will be an S question mark. He rolls for it and makes it. So he's okay. He gets to fire now. Company bonus. He makes it. So he's going to be a purple 4 plus 2 minus 2. Plus 2 for the company, minus 2. And that, so it's going to be a purple 3. He rolls a 6, no effect. And then this is going to be a red 5. And 2, a suppression. And let's just go ahead and roll for it. He makes it. So in round 1, no effect on either side. At this point, the attacker should probably call off the attack. It doesn't have to attack again on round 2. With 2 cohesion hits, any more cohesion hits are going to result in step losses. But let's just say he's crazy. He goes for round 2. Defensive fire, same thing. Roll for company bonus. He makes it. Uh-oh. That's a red 6. So let's roll the red 6. Misses. And now a red 7, right? 5 plus 2 for the company bonus. That's a big number. That's a suppression. And it decides to take the suppression result. It's not going to roll for a cohesion hit. The combat is over. So, motto here, don't assault people who are in good shape. If we were to do it one more time, just to kind of show what can happen, and this time we had properly prepared with a heavy barrage, let's roll this again. So, he's going to have the same bravery check. He fails, but we're going to say he makes it. Opportunity fire is now on a 2, modified by the barrage. It fails. He cannot retreat because he's under a heavy barrage, so you skip that phase. Now, we'll go to assault again. Company bonus, he needs to roll a 2 instead, and he does make it. So it's going to be a red 4. 4 plus 2 for company, minus 2 for the barrage marker. He misses, and now a red 5 misses. Now, can you see how this heavy barrage helps so much? It lowers the chance for opportunity fire, and it really reduces the power of this shooting during assault. His chance now, he rolls for company bonus and gets it. He has a purple 6, minus 1 for the terrain, and the defensive factor is a 5. Purple 5, he misses, and a red 7. And that's a 3, is a suppression, so he'll roll to convert it. And he doesn't make it. We roll a 3, so he is suppressed. Now, that's round 1. Round 2, what happens now? He can declare a charge, but the defender can still spend a command point to keep him safe, so he decides to go assault fire again. Now, we look here, when you're at the suppressed, you have no fire here. Now, you get a minus 2 on this, so he's not going to get to shoot with this factor. He's only going to get 1 shot, which is one nice thing about firing and assaulting guys. So, defensive fire, roll for a company bonus, which should be fat chance, since it's a total of minus 3 to the quality rating. He does not get it. Base 5, minus 2 for the heavy barrage, minus 2 for the suppression, so it's a base 1. We roll a 1. All right, S question mark. Okay, he has to make the roll. He just barely makes it, so he's not affected. Now he gets his fire. This is the last fire. It's the second round. Rolls for company bonus. He makes it. So that's going to be a purple 6. Down 1 here is a purple 5. And now a red 7. It's a 3. It's a suppression result. So he's already suppressed. He's going to get a cohesion hit. So while that was a little fortunate, can you see already the nice outcome that came for the attackers if you drop a heavy barrage on it first? Because that really makes their defensive fire a lot less deadly, and it makes it a lot harder to make your quality rolls, and will kind of force your opponent to spending command points that he or she probably does not want to spend. Okay, I went through that pretty quickly, but hopefully it gave you sort of at least a sense of how assaults go. I'm sure I forgot some little rules here and there. You'll have to read them yourself and find all the modifiers. Just to review, declare the assault, which attacking units in the hex are attacking. You have to attack everybody in the target hex, by the way. I didn't say that before, I don't think. Make your bravery check. Make sure to check all the modifiers. Make sure to look around to see which defending units have the highest defensive value that are exerting a fire zone on the attacking hex. Sometimes it could be an 88 gun somewhere 3 or 4 hexes away. You have to kind of look around. Then make your bravery check based on that. Defending hex only gets opportunity fire. Eliminate 0-step units. Do not forget that. Super important. Great way to take out those 0-step Waffennester, by the way. Defender has the option to retreat then. Don't forget that. And then 2 rounds of combat. The attacker gets to decide each round whether to charge or not. Consider that carefully, because the defender gets a nice bonus against you if the defender holds during the charge. So this wraps up this episode. Next up will be episode 5, where I'll talk about rally actions, engineer actions, and air power.